going to learn so much from her. So grab your notepads, grab your pens, and let's do this.
All right. Thanks for that introduction, Rachel. Can you all hear me all right? Perfect. Yeah, thank you. I'm just going to share really quickly my 30-second story because I want to get straight into tonight's call. So about 2.5 years ago, I was just completely exhausted. I needed coffee to get going in the morning. In fact, I'd make my partner Ian bring me one in bed. I had that slump in the afternoon. I needed lollies and chocolate to get through the afternoon. And by the time I got home from work, I was ready to crack a bottle of wine and get stuck into that just to see me through the night. It was a vicious circle though. I didn't sleep well. I just woke up feeling, tired the next day, like I hadn't not refreshed at all. I also, while you couldn't see it in my clothes, I was that skinny fat. So I had a roll of fat around my middle that I just couldn't move. Didn't matter how much clean eating I did. And it was about that time I had been following Rachel McConnell on Facebook, and I finally reached out to her and said, I want whatever it is you've got, get me on it. I started, and by the end of the 30 days, I no longer needed coffee. I didn't have any sugar cravings. I didn't miss the alcohol. I was sleeping well and waking up feeling refreshed. My mind was clear, and I lost 5 kilos. I actually didn't even think that I had 5 kilos to lose. And it was, I did my measurements, and true to label, all of it came off around the middle from that, dangerous visceral fat. So I was just stoked, and people at work started to notice and asked me what I was doing and, wanted to get on board. And I just started sharing it with as many people as I could because I was just so thrilled about my own health transformation. I wanted others to have the same. And yeah, a lot's happened since then. I've quit my corporate job, and I'm now, seeing Isogenics as a vehicle to create the life that I've always dreamed of, which is, coming true. So I'm really excited, and thank you for inviting me, to present on the call tonight. I also want to introduce Beck because I've asked Beck to do a couple of segments. So she'll come in a couple of times during today's call to share with you as well. So thanks in advance for that, Beck. So I'm going to share my screen. Let's see if this works. I've got some slides because, as Rachel said, I'm kind of organised. I needed to get these slides together to actually to get my head clear about what I wanted to share with you. Can you guys see my screen? Amazing. Oh, amazing. So I'm just going to click through. We've had my story. So the major items today we're going to cover is the recent events, and Beck's going to talk to you about that and give you her key takeaways. Then we're going to talk about upcoming events. I'll show you the calendar I pulled together again just to get my head clear on what I needed to focus on in the next few months, and then I'm going to go into some training on follow-up. You may be interested to know that if you read the birthday book, my birthday is the day of infinite detail. Scary, but true. So yeah, I'll hand over to Beck for her to give her piece on the Isobody tour.
Thanks, Jo. Do you still want me to talk about follow-up as well or not?
No, we'll come back to that a bit later.
All right, awesome.
Thanks.
Yes, so I'm excited to talk about the Isobody tour. For those that went, it was such an amazing event, and I've made some notes, so if I keep looking down, that's why. I asked some of the people in my team and some of the people that came with me what their main takeaways, and I think one of the main things is just increased belief, seeing Josh Plant with all his amazing qualifications and his knowledge in nutrition and science. And it really just refined like how good we really have it at Isogenics, and and how he chose to choose he chose Isogenics, because of the transformations, because of the community and everything like that. And he could have worked in a lab and something else for way more money, but he chose Isogenics because of the community and because of the transformations we have. And I just love like how he spoke about it, like the natural, pure quality of Isogenics, all the testing, the ingredients in the products, and it's so much more than what's perceived, like the Ayurvedic properties, the Eastern and Western medicine. Like, people don't know that. Like, for me, when I got started, like, I was like, oh, it's just a shake thing, like it's probably not going to work. So yeah, there's so much more than what people think. So really awesome. And what else? The video, I'm going to share a video as well. The new Isogenics Explained video, I think, has been really, really great for, showing what's actually in the products. And, like, who can we educate, like, about this? Like, I know I have a lot of prospects that are PTs and things like that, and I'm telling them this, but who on the call could educate people like more this week about this and what's actually in the products and the difference to another shake to this shake, So I just loved, how he talked about, the natural ingredients and what it's doing in the body and the intermittent fasting and all the science behind that. And like, you obviously don't have to know that, you just have to send a tool. So like, don't get overwhelmed by that either, what I'm talking about. And the bone broth coming out September 24th. Who's excited? Who's tried that? So good. I'm really excited. Coming out of my birthday. And then what I also loved is Josh's story, and how he came from the bottom, like he was in was it like a shipping container or something? And now like where he is and what he's achieved. And it just refined as well, like whatever you want with Isogenics, whatever you want with this, you can do it. You just have to decide and just do it every day. And also what I found, like I had a few new people come from Bumble and like Instagram and things like that, and I haven't met them before, and it just made them really trust Isogenics and made them really excited. So that's my little summary.
Beautiful. That's fantastic. Thank you so much, Beck. That was brilliant. I'm just going to go share my screen again so that we can move along to the calendar. So we'll share now. So as you can see from the calendar, even though we're halfway through the month already, there's still a lot going on. And the most important thing is, so Rachel sort of touched on at the introduction, is, for everyone this week is to focus on this 10% off promotion. Rachel, you mentioned that you were doing some posts and you'd put something already in Team Free, is that right? Sorry, I missed it because I was faffing around with the audio.
So I've put on Team Free the Instagram story and Facebook story templates. I also put a post on my personal page just saying today there's 10% off. Nothing fancy. I don't think we need to get creative. Like, we don't need real stories. People just want the truth. They just want to know there's 10% off. If I want to get started, boom. I'll put a few more posts up over the next few days as well, but just be black and white, straight down the line, guys. There's 10% off if you want to get started. Now's a great time. I'd be focused on, you're going to go through focused on following up and stuff, but keep an eye out on other people's socials, but don't spend too much time on it. All right. Just get something out, done. I don't want you guys living on social media. All right. It's not where you have to be. Okay? No stress.
Beautiful. Thanks, Rachel. And as you're messaging people throughout the week about the 10% off, if you feel like any of them need that little bit extra sort of information and they're living in the North Fitzroy area or in Kangaroo Ground, we've got a couple of sip and samples coming up. The first one in North Fitzroy at my place on Sunday from 4 till 5, and then the following Sunday at Kylie's in Kangaroo Ground again, 4 till 5. I'll put the invitations for that on Team Free. I won't include my address. I'll give my address in the comments of when I post it, and if you could just manage, that and the RSVPs and let me know, that'd be fantastic. But anyone's welcome. And then next week we've got the bone broth launch and op meeting in healthy living and a VIP guest speaker. Rachel, do you want to touch on any of that?
So VIP guest speaker is not this week, it's next week. It's our Saturday morning call. I'm just talking to a few different people, just working out who is going to be the best for us. That's exciting. What were the other things that you just said?
Just the op meeting in healthy living. Is that starting Tuesday week? Like not tomorrow, but the following week?
Yeah. So, well, I'll see what we're ready to go. I just want to see in the chat what we think. I can't do it this week, so it's not this week. So we'll start next week. Okay. So on Tuesday nights, guys, on Healthy Living, we are going to run an opportunity meeting. And it's going to be slideshows, and it's going to be ran into Healthy Living so that as a Facebook Live. Now, the whole idea is that you're adding your people to Healthy Living, and then you are telling them that it's on, and then they've got something to watch. It'll be a different presenter every week. So it will be Tuesday nights, 8 p.m. It will be Forever Pack based. It'll be primarily product, system, how they get started. It'll be very similar to what you could run as a launch party. So therefore, you can watch it and learn how to do a launch, what you do at your launch party. If for some reason someone doesn't have Facebook, you can give them the link to the Facebook Zoom. Not the Facebook Zoom, but just a Zoom meeting. But there's a few things that I want you guys to really get from this. There is no point us doing this if you're not inviting anybody. Now, yes, we absolutely do need to be inviting prospects, new people, but what this opportunity meeting is really good for is it's really good for people who are brand new in their first week, their first, second, and third week in Isogenics, to plug them into something like this because it builds their belief, they get excited. And then it shows them that there is something simple that they can get their friends to have a look at, okay? So Dave MacArthur in America, he does the Forever Pack one every week, and we're going to do the same. But I really feel that we would struggle to have people watch an hour and 20 minutes sometimes. So we're going to drop it back to 15, 20 minutes into the Facebook page. Can I just see in the chat who is happy about this, who wants an opportunity meeting, who feels like they can, they'll be driving people to that? Guys, this is every single Tuesday, you'll be tagging everybody in this. All new people, all prospects, all new cleansers, everyone. When I first started Isogenics, guys, we had events all the time. We were tagging people, we were inviting people, inviting all the time, okay? It's only going to work if you guys put your hands up to help run them, if you've been around in Isogenics for a little while and you're confident, all right? And I just think that it's going to be a great benefit. So that's the op meeting on a Tuesday night, 8 p.m. If they can't make it, guess what? You tag them in it and you tell them to watch the replay. And we can run a watch party every now and then as well, which just means it's like a rerun, all right? That's the first thing. Joe, should we talk about the Sunday night as well? Have you mentioned that yet?
No, I haven't mentioned that yet. I'll just flick over to that's starting in October, yeah?
Yeah, well,
No.
I could even, we'll even, probably not this week, next week. All these things are going to start next week, okay? That's cool. We'll talk about that when you get to that. So guys, just to be really clear, opportunity meeting online every Tuesday night, Forever Pack based. Not just for prospects, for brand new cleansers, and you're going to get really good at tagging your people in there. Okay. Yeah. All right. All right, Joe, handing it back to you. I love the calendar, by the way. You're amazing. Jan, don't worry about what a watch party is. It's like watching a rerun. Okay. It's like just it's like recording a TV show and watching it later. Okay. All right. You there, Joe?
No. Can I hear?
I can hear you.
Rachel,
loud and clear.
I couldn't hear anything that you said. Sorry, people.
But everybody heard me, so that's fine. All good. All good.
All right. Perfect. Thanks. Well, we'll move on to the, I'll just click on to the October calendar. Can everyone see that now? Yep. Okay, so we've already got a bunch of stuff going on in October, and I haven't even included that Sunday night call. Sarah, if you're on the call, can you unmute to share about the 11-day reset?
Yeah. Hey guys, how are you?
Hi. Can someone unmute Sarah?
I've unmuted me. Sorry, I don't know why. Hello. How are you all? Happy Monday. All right, so starting the 7th of October, we are doing an 11-day reset. So Shez and I have sat down and designed all the marketing material that's going to come along with this, and we will put it all in team free. But what it's going to be is it's a place for you to run right back through your downline and invite anyone, any of your product users, your current cleansers, the people that you've got started on your Forever Pack, in the last couple of months, to an 11-day reset. It will allow them to then try doing a cleanse. So we're running it as a 2-day, like the 2-2-5-2. So the fast start option, which is 2 shake days, 2 cleanse days, 5 shake days, 2 cleanse days. So there'll be 2 double cleanses in there. And it's going to be run like bring a friend, bring in an accountability buddy. So now Rach did put the question that we probably will get people that can't come in with an accountability buddy, and that's okay. We will honour that, but it is going to be a separate group. So if people would like to, we've started an 11-day reset group, and if people would like to start in this account, in this 11-day reset, they will put up all the info, but they need to message me and request to be added to that group. So that's how it's going to run. It's going to be completely separate to Healthy Living. We will promote it through Healthy Living, and you guys can promote it to your cleansers, your current cleansers, and promote it on your social media. But it's going to be a completely separate group that will be opened and it will be closed. The intention of this is to do this for an 11 days, and then if this works really well, aligning the Forever Pack, we can run this like 4 times a year. So that is how it's going to work. Any questions? we'll put up all the info anyway, but we're just doing all the final stuff at the moment. So hope that's
excellent. Thanks for that, Sarah. That's great and really exciting. And everyone on this call needs to get involved in that if they can. Obviously, you can see on the calendar there's a number of sip and sample events happening already in October. So, you know, there's something on every week that you can be inviting to. We've got the sip and samples in back in Middle Park called the Forever Pack catch-ups. They're on every fortnight now. Sarah's starting, I think it's Sarah, you're starting back with Wellness Wednesday in Mornington. And we've got Kylie's Sip and Sampling Kangaroo Ground later in the month. The one thing I did just want to draw your attention to is on the 22nd of October. It's still a bit away, but I want to make sure that you know that we're collaborating with an organisation called OsteoStrong in Hawthorn, and we'll be promoting a joint presentation with them. And there's a really great synergy between bone health and cellular health that we're really going to focus on. It'd be great to get your support for that because OsteoStrong have locations all around Australia, and if the presentation goes well, then it opens up the opportunity to collaborate with them, you know, at more of their locations across Australia, and hopefully even somewhere where, you know, you might be located. So put that in your calendar and start inviting to that as well if you can. So just moving through, I'm going to start now to talk about following up. And I wanted to start really by setting the context of what we're talking about. And I've put together just this little infographic on, you know, what you would have heard all of these things before, but this is what's called your daily method of operation, your daily action plan. And it talks about it really just presents how to build your business in 1 hour a day. Now, many of you are doing more than that, so obviously you can expand your, you know, as I talk through the different elements, the 5 minutes each of these sort of smaller segments represents 5 minutes. So as I talk about 5 minutes, you know, if you're working on Isogenics more, by all means, just think about it in the time that you have. But I just want people to understand that might be new, that, you know, it fits within the activities that we consistently want you to do in that 1 hour you've got to build the business. And each person might have slightly different, you know, daily method of operation, but all of them are going to have what we call this, most of them will have this 3 by 3 by 3. Has everyone sort of heard about understands what that 3 by 3 by 3 is? Just show of hands.
Can you explain?
That's familiar to people? I can't really see many people, so I'll put in the thread if you need more information on that. I can send it, but you can see it comprises give love to 3 people, connect with 3 new people, and follow up with three prospects. And just to make it really clear, I've highlighted the areas that I'm going to be focusing our talk on today. Following up with the 3 prospects, following up with 3 customers, and following up with 3 people that have said not now. Well, they've said no, but, you know, honestly, because we think of Isogenics as a long-term, you know, business, it really means not now. So I just wanted to put that in the context of what we think that you'll be working on each day to grow your business. Now, this slide is really my interpretation and the way I think about and manage my business. So the way I have sort of set up, you know, managing my business to look at different sort of categories of people as I move them through a sort of process from a list to having conversations to introducing Isogenics and through to customer and then on. And the idea of this sort of presentation is really that we want to keep people in that midpoint of customers on auto ship And, you know, within each of the other buckets on either side, the idea is that we have this follow-up. We use follow-up to try and move them towards that central point of customers on auto ship. And we're going to sort of spend the rest of the session, the call today, going through how we do that. And I really just wanted, you know, to reiterate the point that if you're following up with 3 people a day, or connecting with 3 new people a day with your 3 by 3 by 3, you know, that's 1,000 people that you're going to be speaking to a year. And because we take this long-term view, you know, we're going to be doing that over a number of years, and that's a lot of people that you need to manage. So even if you're only connecting with, you know, 1 person a day or less than that, there's still going to be hundreds of people that you're going to be effectively bringing into your business over the next 5 to 10 years. And these people are your business, and we want to make sure that you're building really great relationships with them and following up with them. So even when someone says no or customers drop off, you want to be just all the time thinking that they're still part of your business. They might come back later, and to keep following up with them over time. One of the key sort of success, or the important parts of having a successful follow-up, is managing, you know, all of these people that you have in your business and the information, having some kind of contact management system that you use. Now, there's no right or wrong in terms of how you want to manage this, and we suggest all the time, you know, keep it simple when you get started, because, you know, start with a notebook, start with a list, start with a spreadsheet, and then, you know, use that to keep the information. People use spreadsheets. There's people that use the ISA sales tool. There's people that use the contacts in their phone. And there's other online platforms that people use, such as Trello. And I know that, you know, some of you have heard Trello mentioned before. Personally, it's what I use because I use that in my work. So I was familiar with it from my work. And so I found that a really useful way to manage all of the people in those lists. Is anyone interested just for me to spend 2 minutes to show you what that looks like? Yeah, a few people nodding. I won't spend a lot of time on it because it's not a Trello training session. And look, this isn't suitable for everyone, but I will just share what my Trello looks like with you. I'll just stop sharing that. So here is my Trello. Can everyone see that? Yep, great. Spoke to yet. So this is what you saw this is the list in the previous slide. Then you've got people I've started conversations with, and then I've got people here that I've got to the stage where I've introduced the opportunity. I've asked them to watch a video. I've asked them, or asked whether I can send them a video. And then as you move across here, you're just sort of going through this funnel of, I've sent people this forever pack. There's a couple of people that are waiting to be enrolled and set up. A few people in their first 30 days. There's a few people, there's my list of people that are active on auto ship. When people go inactive, I move them to this column and then not active. And then I have a list right at the end, which is the only one that's kind of really where I won't go back to people, and that's this do not contact list. And very few people end up on that list. And these cards are useful because they allow you to sort of store information. So if you look at, when you open up a card, I can write down how I've met someone, what their goals are, the times I've contacted them. I've got checklists as to where they're at. I've sent them a video. I've added them to the page. So I won't spend more time than that, but I just wanted you to be aware that there are systems out there. There's training videos on using Trello if you think it's something you want to do. But the main thing I'd really want to point out, and just seeing what's in the chat, time. Look, I think that's what I was going to touch on next, Louisa, is that it doesn't matter what system you use. To keep good notes on people is really important, but it takes time. So whether you've got a spreadsheet, if you don't use a spreadsheet, if you don't use Trello, if you don't use it, it's not going to help you manage your people and help with follow-up in over future months and years that you're building your business. So time is a big factor, and really it takes time. Trello takes time, putting all that information in. I have it on my phone, so I try and do it as I go. But that's the same with your notebook. If you've got your notebook with you and you're using a notebook, then fill it out as you go. But that takes time, and you need to commit. The more you can commit to keeping it, the easier your follow-up will be over your next follow-up with people. If you kept good notes, you know what your goals are. I have to put down what the husband kids' names, because next time I remember it. But yeah, that all absolutely takes time. But you have to just find the system that works best for you, I think, is the most important thing, and then stick to it and just invest the time, every day when you're doing your 5 minutes of follow-up, just to put a couple of notes in, because that will mean that you can then refer back to that when you're doing the follow-up that we're going to talk about in the next little section. So I'm just swapping screens again, coming back to the presentation. So that's kind of how I developed this slide. It was really just the way I think about it and manage it. So now let's move on to talking about following up across. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this area. I'm going to ask Beck to speak on it shortly, but it's a topic that Greg's covered quite a bit in previous trainings. There's also other trainers that do really great training on it, like Eric Warre and Fraser Brooks, in developing your list, of moving people through, the prospect stage, and also then just getting them to a point where you flip the rock. So does everyone know what I mean? Just want to share what flipping the rock means. And again, yell out, I can't see. Anyone?
Did you want someone to explain flipping the rock, Joe, or?
Yeah. Tremaine, if you could share what's meant when we say flip the rock.
Certainly.
That's a key point in the process.
Yep. So basically, when we are talking to prospects and we've shared, we've obviously connected with them, we've followed up with them, we've asked them a question if they are ready to watch the Forever Pack video. So once we've done that and they come back to us and we chat to them afterwards, we ask them the question, about how they're going to get started, and that is flipping the rock. So you're actually asking them a question that is an actionable item rather than just keeping the little chit chat together and seeing whether or not they've got any more questions and what's stopping them from getting started.
Beautiful. Thanks, Tremaine. That's perfect. Perfect. And that's a kind of key point, because when you ask that question, people either become a customer or they go into the not for now list. And so and then if they go in the not now, then you just keep it on a slow burn. You're contacting them. And I've got some timings in there. I've said every 3 to 6 months, but you'll sort of have your own sense of, how you with the time frame that you want to use in contacting people. And, with all of these prospects and even with not now people, promotions and new products and events are a great way to follow up with people. And as we've talked about, there's a 10% off happening this week. And I've invited Beck to just describe how she's using this promotion to follow up with her prospects. I'll hand over to Beck.
Thanks, Jo. How I'm going to be following up with people this week, obviously, like around my age group especially, like money is a big thing. So I'll definitely be going back to everyone with a cost objection. Telling them about the 10% off. But something I really want to talk about and something I was thinking about today, like, what I've learned the past 2 years, I've been around for a while now, is at the start I was go, go, go. It's all about me, PRBs, etc. And now I guess I've changed, and now I care so much about people, and I actually care about their goals, and I think about their goals more than my own. So I'll be following up with them, not straight away with the 10% off. And I'm finding this is working really well for me. You don't have to do it. But, I'm taking more time to actually find out about my people, my prospects. What do they do for work? What are they passionate about outside of work? How many family members do they have? All that. Do they love yoga? Cool. Tell them an awesome yoga studio if you know one. Can you provide value to them as well as just selling to them and saying, 10% off this week. Are you ready to get started straight away? People are going to want to trust you if you care about them more, and they're going to want to talk to you more if you care about them more. And that's something I'm just finding really worked for me, because at the start, I ran for it and I was doing really well, and then I sort of dropped down, and I realized it was because I was all about me and cool, I've got $500 this week in PRBs or whatever. But now it's no, it's about my people, their goals. I'm more passionate about building them up and helping them get paid. But then also prospects, really caring about how they're going and if I can help them in any way, whether it's them getting started or not. So that's what I'll be doing. I'll be going in and asking them how they're going, what's new with them, and how's their training going, how they're going with their goals, whatever, whatever about them that I know. And I guess that's one of the biggest things for me that I was thinking about today. I'm really caring about prospects. And then after I've had that conversation with them and re-spark the connection, if it's been a little while, then I'll say, hey, there's 10% off this week. I know you said you want to achieve XYZ. Can I do anything to help you get started? Or do you know anyone that wants to get started? And what else? And just remember, 5 to 17 exposures for people to start. And what else? Follow up with specific value as well. What is their goal, and make sure you're sending them the right information they need. Because sometimes we can be they would love this video, but it's nothing really relating to their goal. Or we'll tag them on healthy living. Are you sending them the right information in relation to what they want to achieve? And I loved the other day as well, how Jill was talking about on that Saturday call. I don't know if you guys are all on it, but be more interested in them than interesting and talking about yourself. I love that. And I might be going off track a bit, but that has seriously just changed the game for me lately. Just being really interested in everyone and helping them in any way I can.
That's fantastic, Beck.
Yeah, I think that's really the main thing I wanted to talk about. and like those Fraser Brooks, the frog analogies, what is it? Family, recreation, occupation, all of that. Like, you know, go through that before you spend with the 10% off thing. And then,
beautiful.
you know, I saw this 10% off and I couldn't help but think of you. Like, personalize it, send them a voice message, call them, don't just send them a message. And really, yeah, personalize it to them. And the more you do that, I think that, you know, they'll know you more, they'll like you, they'll trust you more, they'll want to get started, and they'll want to hang out with you, and they'll want to be your friend as well.
Beautiful. Thanks so much. I love that, Beck. I love that you're caring about that whole idea of caring about other people's goals more than your own. It's beautiful. Thank you for that. I'm just going to go back to sharing the screen here. Just the next section really quickly, because it's something that you're all much more familiar with, is helping customers getting started and following up with them when they're in their first 30 days. You should all be doing, you know, the welcome calls and the structured follow up with people when they're in their 30 days. And I hope that's going well. And I think having that call that Rachel mentioned on the Sunday night will help for those that haven't been able to get people on a welcome call. At the end of the 30 days, it's really important for you to try and get testimony from, you know, all your customers to share their results, so that, you can really recognise your customers as well. And after the first 30 days, moving on, it's important that you follow up. And the suggestion, I think Sarah in a call a couple of weeks ago suggested that, you know, aim to follow up with your customers once a month, splitting them into, you know, 4 groups and following up with 1 group every week. And again, you know, this is all coming back to 5 minutes a day, 3 people following up with your customer, if that's all the time that you have. And you can again use promotions, new products and events as a way to follow up, and that's what I've just got listed in that presentation. It's also important to, you know, in your follow-up, try and educate customers on auto ship. You know, promote the benefits, and I've just included a little pic in the bottom of that presentation of a post I did on healthy living, which goes through all the benefits of preferred customer auto ship. So, you know, you're welcome to tag people, you know, claim your customers in that, or copy and paste it and send it as one of the follow-ups, because it's easier to educate people while they're on auto ship rather than, you know, once they drop off. But it's okay, you know, if people do drop off, this will happen. People turn off auto ship for a whole range of reasons. It's important not to take it personally. Don't make the customer wrong for doing that. Just make sure that the customer knows that they can order anything at any time using the once off. And actually, I didn't mention it before, but I reached out on the ANZ Isogenics business page and asked a couple of questions to help me with my research on this topic. I got a response from Dominique McDonald, who's the partner of Brendan DeSalis, and she shared with us how she goes back to customers that have dropped off auto ship. And she says she starts with appreciation for having them as a customer. She asks them what they love and loved most about their experience. She lets them know that she can help, or she asks if she can help in any way with future orders. She also lets them know that they can buy items individually at their leisure, and makes product recommendations based on their goals. So that's really coming back to what Beck shared earlier, you know, really connecting with people on their goals. And that really comes back to, you need to keep good notes so you remember, you know, when you've got a lot of customers, you know, that you remember what their goals are and how they're tracking. And so that's just another way. And you can use at the end of someone's membership, and when they go into the sort of renewal of their membership, is another good way to connect with people about auto ship, because if someone is on auto ship, then their membership fee is half the amount of if they're not on auto ship. So that's just a few suggestions about customers, your existing customers that are still ordering. Now, the rest of the time, I've only got sort of 10 minutes or so. I just want to really focus on customers that are no longer ordering. And I picked this topic. Sorry, I'm managing screen. So this was an area for me that I felt was a real weakness. I sort of had put these people in the too hard basket. I wasn't really connecting with them. I didn't really know, how to connect. I didn't really know how to connect with them. It wasn't an area I felt competent or confident in doing. And when I put my questions up on the ANZ business page, I had a lot of people saying, that they had the same question, that they didn't feel that there'd been a lot of training. So I thought I'd use this opportunity to educate myself so that I could then educate you, all of you, on, what people are doing, what are the suggestions to follow up with these customers. So one of the pieces of feedback that came back was that the most important thing is for each of us to take personal responsibility for everyone that's no longer ordering. And there's a difference between responsibility and blame. So it's not about blaming yourself, but really taking on responsibility and seeing whether there's a way that you can learn from that or better support either that person in future or other customers as they go, as you bring them into your business. So I had a few suggestions from my request for information. I had a few suggestions come through from people about how they follow up with people that have stopped ordering. And if you're like me, you have a sort of a bunch of people that have stopped ordering for a while and you haven't reached out. And a woman by the name of Amy Farrelly shared a really great suggestion on how you could reconnect with people that you haven't sort of touched base with after they've stopped ordering. And she suggested really using it as a learning opportunity to find out why people have stopped using it and getting feedback for yourself. So her suggestion was to do a survey. So I'll just quickly tell you what she said. She said, so she sent out a message, hey, I know it's been some time since you stopped using Isogenics, but I feel like I didn't have a proper conversation with you to understand why. It would be very helpful for my learning if you would respond to the short survey below. And she just asked, please select the reasons why you stopped ordering Isogenics. And she gives a list of reasons why people might have stopped. It's too hard, or they didn't achieve their results, or money. And the second and other, and asks them to describe that. And then she goes on to ask them, I'm continually learning and would value your feedback so that I can better support my customers. Please describe any way in which you felt you weren't supported or that I could have supported you better. And again, I think it's a really great way of just opening up those doors of communication, making it about, receiving feedback from them rather than going with that intention, rather than going with an intention of, I'm going to find out why they stopped and convince them that perhaps they were wrong and that they should get back on board. And it's not that you won't use the information that they give you at all, but it's something, again, to keep in your notes. And when, a video comes, so just say someone says to you, I stopped because I'm now doing the keto diet. So when the article comes up from Isogenics, about the connection between keto and isogenics, you can send it to that person. And so, again, coming back to what Beck was saying before, just connecting with their goals or connecting with them in terms of what's relevant to them. And the next suggestion really for reconnecting with people that you haven't spoken to in the past is following up with them about the Forever Pack. So you would have heard Rachel talk about in previous calls that there's a template in the Forever Pack playbook, and that talks about, I know it's been a while since you stopped using isogenics, would you be interested in revisiting it with me? And so the script for that is in the Forever Pack playbook, and that's another suggestion on how you can reconnect with people that are in the bucket that have stopped ordering, but you haven't connected with them for a while. So the final, I guess, feedback I wanted to give was that for people that you've just noticed, so once you've caught up, like I feel like once I catch up with, my customers that haven't been ordering for a while, I'm going to start setting up a system where once they stop ordering, once I notice they've stopped ordering, then I'm connecting with them in a much more timely way. And it might be if they haven't ordered for 60 days or if they haven't ordered for 90 days, that might trigger me to send a message to them. And Alan Hilsinger shared that with his customers, once he notices that they stop ordering, he sends them a message or calls them up and says, hey, I want to reach out. I've noticed you've stopped ordering, and I just want to check back in with you and see if everything's okay. And then he talks about reiterating to them their pain point. And he says, I know you wanted to lose, he gives an example, I know you wanted to lose 20 kilos and you're on track to do that. I just want to check in and see if there's any way I can support you. Are you okay? Have you gone off track? I don't know, maybe it's just me. I could be totally off the mark. So he sort of takes some of the pressure off. And then he goes on to say, I just feel a responsibility to keep you accountable. I know when we first started that you wanted me to keep you accountable to hitting your results. So I thought that was just to, come back to them with what their initial pain point was is a great way to really connect. Other suggestions that came through were apologising for potentially not giving them enough support and offering if there's anything else that you can do to support them, or if you suspect that it's about the money, the suggestion is just ask them, is one of the reasons why you stopped using your product because anything to do with the money? And if they say yes, then you can talk to them about the business. And if they say no, then they'll give you another reason. They'll be like, no, it's not that. It's just, and they'll explain, likely explain why that is. So I want to leave enough time, 5 minutes, for sort of just questions that, there's not even 5 minutes. Sorry, people. So look, once you've reconnected with people that aren't ordering, then just follow up with them sort of regularly, promotions, or just to see how they're going, maybe on a bit of a slower time frame, because you might feel that every month is too much. But in all of the, I guess what I'll leave you with is that some of the key things is, don't make people wrong for turning off auto ship, stopping order. Try and learn something from, what this customer is telling you. Don't take things personally when people don't respond to you. And I think that was a big one for me. It's like, even though I knew I wasn't meant to take things personally, I was still taking it personally when people weren't getting back to me when I was following up. So definitely don't take things personally and just persevere, because we know that, you know, follow up, as they be consistent and start. So I'm just looking at the notes. Beck, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I forgot to talk about before, with this 10% off, like obviously after you reconnect with them and you talk about how they're going as a family, like you care about them, and then you say there's 10% off, like creating urgency and being like, look, there's 10% off, you know, I'm only taking on 5 people for the month, 5 more people, there's 2 spots that are being taken, you know, do you want to get started this month or do you want to delay it? All good with whatever you decide. And I'm finding that's working well, like even for events. I've started being like, really, I have 1 spot left for my car, like you have to let me know as soon as possible it's going to go, and people like quicker at getting back to you, because they're like, oh, okay, wow, okay, she really, you know, she's really got other people keen, and I have to decide quickly. And I guess like trying not to get caught up in what they reply back as well with the 10% off, because a lot of us will be contacting heaps of our list, and not wanting it too much for them, because I know, especially me, like I really want some people to start, especially like even people in my family, and just keep focusing on the next person and who you can help. And yeah, that's all from me. Thanks, Jo, as well. You're amazing.
Jo, you've gone muted again. We can't hear you. Rach, did you have anything more that you wanted to say? Because I can't hear Jo at all.
Absolutely.
All right, I'm back. I can. Sorry. Thanks, Tremaine. No, I'm finished. So if anyone had any last minute questions, or Rachel, if you had anything else you wanted to say.
Yeah, awesome. So the first thing is, Jo, guys, hands up if you enjoyed listening to Jo and you like, and the visual. Yeah. And pulling back in, you know, for the young gun energy, e-shots bouncing off the walls, and then your solid foundation and you're organized. I love it. What a team. What a team. So the first thing is 10% off this week. Jo has just given you the tools for you to revisit all your people who are inactive, need to be restarted again. All right. The other thing is, guys, the 10% off isn't just about us going and enrolling people. It's about us helping our people enroll. And Beck alluded to that. She's helping other people with their goals. So you know what? The 10% off is not just about us going and enrolling our people. It's about our people telling them, you know, they might have friends and family who are wanting to get started. And not everyone's watching Facebook, all right? Who can you bless, Beck? Absolutely. The next thing I wanted to talk about was the 11-day reset that Sarah and Sheridan have done. Every single one of us needs to be on that. Every single one of us needs to be taking our energy, our health to the next level. And yes, it's absolutely for our old cleansers. It's absolutely for our people who've been on the Forever Pack, but it's for us. All right. So, you know, I'd like to see over a couple of hundred people doing that. All right. And in a big picture, like think about this in the big picture of the Forever Pack world, right? Think about, you know, having a big Forever Pack team. Everyone starts on the Forever Pack and then they buy more products as they go. And then, guys, Imagine doing 4 11-day resets a year as a big, massive group in a community, right? Who can kind of see that working? Pete, I saw you. You know, you can absolutely do as much cleansing as you want, right? I'm just talking about a foundation. All right, so this is the first one. Okay, says, and Sheridan have made it a bit fun, much more fun than I'd make it, trust me. And so just jump in, do it, all right? And bring your people along with you. And then the other thing I just wanted to recap as well, quickly, is we're focusing on 10% off this week. I'll put some notes in Team Free about the new things coming up, the new calls, all right? And then the following week, we're focusing on bone broth, all right? So I'm starting to put some events up, invite your people, do all that kind of stuff, all right? Hey, let's turn off the recording. Does anyone have any questions? I know I've been away for 5 weeks.